Yeah, let's take a look. Philly, Querétaro, and Philly at Subaru Park. How do you guys feel? I'll let you guys go first before I give my prediction.
I'm going with Querétaro in that one. I think they've got something to prove. I think they really want to make the right headlines after last year. If you kind of follow them a little bit, like that's kind of been their story since all that happened. That was in March of last year. I remember it was the same weekend, same day, same night as the Colorado match last year where Atlanta went out to Colorado and Ozzy Alonso had that heart issue. It was early last season for Atlanta, but that's when all that happened with Querétaro, and it was just really bad. It was really, really bad. And I think since then they want to get on the right side of the PR thing, and they're going to be fighting for it. And they've also shown a lot of like fight and heart in the matches they played. They haven't like really had any great blowouts. I mean, they beat Pumas 1-0, which is great. I mean, that's an accomplishment. You take New England to penalties, you win 4-3. Now you're up against Philly, who has just not been looking great lately. Like if LAFC has bounced back from their Champions League stuff and everything else, Philly has not. And I just feel like Querétaro could pull one out and make it interesting.
Thomas.
I just want chaos. I want it just to be all MLS teams at this point. I was rooting against MLS, but I just want to see more complaining. Philadelphia wins and penalties. Penalties is like the way to go. Like last night, I'm so grateful I bought that new Apple TV. I swear I don't work for Apple, but like I pulled it up and I had all three on at the same time. Like I turned on my phone to kind of just see what was going on. All three were in penalties. I was like, oh, I'm turning all these on right now. And it was great.
I say Philly. I say Philly wins it in regular time. Philly don't lose at home very often. And I think that, we rag on Jim Curtin because he talks a lot. But he's a player's coach, and his players love play for him. You can tell. I mean, he'll do anything for his team, and I think players appreciate that and rally around that. So, yeah, I'm going to say Philly and, regular time. No penalties needed to advance. Miami and Charlotte, that went in Fort Lauderdale at Drive Pink Stadium. What do you guys think?
Miami 4-0.
Yeah. Moving on. I think Miami too.
I don't know what else to say on that one. Just Charlotte's gotten, I don't want to say lucky. I don't know of another word that's in between lucky and good. That's on the luckier side of lucky.
Extremely fortunate.
Exceptionally fortunate. I mean, they've done well for what they're trying to do. They've not looked terrible. And I'm not talking crap about them because they did beat Cruz Azul when Atlanta couldn't, and they've worked their way through Houston. Like they've done the job that needed to be done, but they just haven't looked super convincing doing it. So you're not going to beat Messi doing that for sure.
I think we're all in agreement.
Yeah,
Miami's going to win that one. Nashville, Minnesota, I feel like it's going to be the much closer one. I feel like that one could go either way. I feel like out of all the four matches in the quarterfinals, that might be the one that goes into penalties. I mean, they have different styles. Nashville are going to have a chip on their shoulder because they talk about fortunate and lucky. My gosh. And Minnesota have won in penalties 2 straight times in the knockout stages. I mean, does that continue in Nashville, a place where Nashville used to be invincible, but now they aren't as invincible as they once were? Oh, gosh. I say Nashville in penalties. Nashville in penalties in that one.
I got Minnesota 2-1 in regular time.
Minnesota.
Get some cheese
for sure. Nashville's such a boring team to watch. I am sorry. I cannot stand watching a Nashville game. Like,
I don't know why you're apologizing for that.
No, I don't know. Like,
it's how they play.
Yeah.
Right, but like, so you talk about rivalries real quick. Like, who's the team that you hate the most? Like, what is it? And it feels like it's evolved. Like, it's usually Orlando, and then there's been some Red Bull hate, throughout the time, and even New York FC for a little bit. And But Nashville, I think, is just the team where I can't stand them. I can't stand their fans on Twitter. Some of them are just crazy obnoxious, and I can't stand the whole guitar thing. And yeah, screw it. Nashville loses 13-0.
Can't stand their parking situation at their stadium.
You don't get cell phone coverage there.
No.
I mean, I already hated their hockey team. Their hockey team's eliminated my Ducks like 3 times in the playoffs. So, and they basically had what like the soccer chants are for hockey, and it's like all country songs. They turned like all their chants into country songs. No, Nashville, no, they're out.
Okay.
Yeah.
How do you really feel, Tommy?
I was so mad when they got another chance to get into that game. So upset. And when like they were all throwing, garbage at the Nashville players in Nashville, it was just like I want to just like post a gif of just a guy eating popcorn, just going carry on.
Every Club America fan is now a Minnesota fan.
Right. No, exactly.
For sure.
No kidding.
I saw someone that I think is an Atlanta fan that ended up going to Nashville because they were also a Club America fan.
All right.
And just like following his tweets like throughout the whole game, it was just like, man, I don't know what that guy did that night, but it was just a mental roller coaster for him for sure.
I bet. So, yeah, Nashville, I say, and then Tyler, you said what? Minnesota, right?
I said Minnesota 2-1 in regular time.
Tommy said Minnesota 13-0 over Nashville.
32-0.
Oh, 32-0. Changed it.
Yeah.
Changed it.
Couple touchdowns, couple field goals.
I like it.
Yeah. This will be like the what?
I said they know what game they're playing.
Yeah. So finally, this will be the match, I think, of the quarterfinals. LAFC Monterrey at the Rose Bowl. Not at I almost called it Bank of America, not at BMO Stadium, the Rose Bowl. So that would be really I'll have to check.
Is it because I thought I read somewhere that like as the tournament moved on, you had to have a certain amount of seats available or something like that. I wonder if that's
so.
it.
I believe so. But
good.
Yeah, that's going to be at the Rose Bowl. That's going to be a tough ticket to get. I don't think it will be a sellout because it's a.
I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's a Friday night. It's a Friday night. I mean, I'm sure there'll be a lot of Mexican soccer fans there, but I mean that's going to be a massive match. LAFC have put teams to the sword in the knockout stages thus far: 7-1 Juarez, 4-0 RSL. I don't think this match will be quite as decisive, but I think Monterrey finds a way and becomes the only Liga MX team in the field. So I think Monterrey wins in regular time.
So I think I'll get to my prediction in a second. Monterrey, I think you talk about going to the Rose Bowl, and I think if there's really any team that could play against LAFC and max out the Rose Bowl, Monterrey's one, Club America's one, maybe Atlas. But I think Monterrey.
Maybe Cholos.
Yeah.
Not too far.
Yeah. So like that's the thing. Like Monterrey's got they have a group of followers. You're also relatively close to the border right there. You have lots of fans. Monterrey is not at that portion of the border, but Monterrey is pretty close to the border in Mexico. As far as the way that this match plays out, I just don't know that anybody's going to beat LAFC when they're on. And right now they're on. So I think it'll be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like it was with, RSL. RSL was kind of a wild card. Like they could have sucked or they could have done fairly well, and they sucked. Juarez, I was not expecting to get beat like that, though. So I think LAFC keeps it rolling. They want trophies like Atlanta does, like a handful of other, like they're really about that life. So I'll say 3-1 LAFC.
Ditto. I think I think 3-1 is there too. I think they end up winning not a very stressful game. Maybe a late goal to make it 3-1, but LAC should win that.
I mean, it's at the Rose Bowl. LAC are their host, so we can't discount that. But I mean, still, it's Monterrey, one of the bigger clubs in Liga MX, so 2-0.
LA.
Monterrey.
Oh,
Monterrey.
look at that. Okay. See, it's different when we're not talking about Atlanta United. I'm like, oh,
I know.
that's
Yeah.
not a pessimistic take at all.
Yeah.